John the Baptizer, quoting the words of Isaiah, said, "Prepare the way of the Lord. Let every valley be filled, let every mountain and hill be put level." In order to understand today's liturgy, you have to understand that at the time that this gospel was written, remember there was no calendar. And in order that St. Luke, which is really by excellency is a historian of the early church, he gave us something to go by, not just one name, but two names. He gave us Tiberius and Pilate. That is the time that Jesus was born. He gave us the idea of who was the high priest, Caiaphas, but also Anna. Anna was the father-in-law, and he has 5 children. One of them was Caiaphas, and all of them took the turn to the high priest. And that is to remind us that although Caiaphas was the high priest, Anna was the power behind him, because he was the one who was really moving him. So it gave us a time frame of how can we judge the time of the Lord. And when did John the Baptizer come? Roughly about 29-30 years after Christ was born. Because remember, after John was killed, Jesus came in public office. And what was his words? Prepare the way of the Lord. Why? Because the Lord is coming. Now we go in the first reading today and we see the prophet Baruch is saying the same thing. He's saying to the people of Jerusalem, do not waste your time. Remember, Baruch saw the destruction of Jerusalem. Remember, Nebuchadnezzar came and really vanished, destroy totally Jerusalem and all the inhabitants of Judea, and take with him all slaves. But now he is saying to Jerusalem, do not be sad, because something very beautiful is going to happen. You are going to wear the clothes of gold and also of majesty. You are going to be crowned again. You are going to be the city of God. You are going to be the one that from all the world they are going to come to you. That's why he said all flesh. To indicate that the salvation is not just for the Jews, but for the Gentiles and Jews put together. They all come to Jerusalem. And why they come to Jerusalem? Because there is where the Lord is coming. And there is the Lord is going to establish his kingdom. But I love very much the words of St. Paul today. Remember, St. Paul visited so many people and convert many nations, but most of the people that he loved so very much were the people of Philippi. Today is part of Turkey. When he went to them, these people welcomed them with open arms. And not only welcomed him, but also received the faith. And they begin to live the faith. And now St. Paul is with tears in his eyes as he is in the prison waiting for his time to be martyred. Is calling on the people and say how thankful I am that God sent you in my path of my life. And I hope that what God began in you will keep it to completion. Those are words that the bishop always say at the ordination of candidate to the priesthood. I hope that what God's grace begin in you will bring it to completion. And why? Because this is the plan of God. Not God call you to salvation and then he drop you. But God call you salvation, and now with your cooperation you continue your journey towards the kingdom. And that's why he said, till the day of the Lord Jesus. He's already speaking about the parousia, St. Paul. He's speaking about the coming of Christ, the second coming of Christ. And that's why he said, till the day. We need to be prepared till the day. Not just at the moment. No, we be prepared now till the day of the Lord Jesus. And St. Paul was so impressed with these people. Not only because they sent him financial help when he needed, but because of their love they have for him, that show it in the preservation of the faith. My dear people, if you are a true priest, if you are a true apostle, The consolation is not how much money people are going to give you. The consolation is how much you are going to make them closer to God, closer to that one who called them to save them. That is the joy. My joy in my priesthood was when I received converts, when I pour water of baptism on the head of little babies, when I really bring others to know Jesus, when somebody who is away from the church and after 20, 30, 40 years he kneels for confession. That is the joy of the priesthood. This is what St. Paul is speaking about, the joy of the ministry. The joy that these people not only accepted Paul because they like him on a physical level, the chemistry match, but because they kept the faith. May God, who began this in you, this grace in you, will bring it to completion. And this is why today, and the second Sunday of Advent, the church is bringing these readings together. Baruch is speaking to Jerusalem to be ready, so that she will welcome the Lord at his coming. John the Baptizer is speaking to the chosen people. Is imminent, the coming of the Lord. It is here, the one among you. And so we need to prepare. We need to prepare. And how are we going to prepare? To bring the valleys down, to fill the valleys, to bring the mountains and the hills down. What kind of things is he speaking about? About those things that hinder us from coming to God, from God come to us. Those are the mountains. We build mountains. If you think for a moment, what did you do from last Christmas to this Christmas? In this year, what did you do? Did you build mountains or make level your way to the Lord? Or there was no destruction, no money involved, and no other possession involved that kept you from the Lord? This is what really the liturgy is trying to speak to us. And then he speaks to us about that mitre. You remember in the first reading, you will wear mitres of glory. What mitres? The high priest used to have a mitre, and on the mitre used to be the everlasting. And that means that he now not only represents God or speak on the behalf of God, but now that all of them, by obeying the high priest, will follow with the Torah to that coming of the Messiah era. And each one of us, we know it, that by the virtue of baptism, we were marked with that mitre, with the sign of the cross on our forehead. And now we are the consecrated of God. And now from that time of the baptism till the time that we are now adults, we have done something that we really tarnish that mitre. And we need to put, as we say, a new mitre on our head. What kind of mitre? Renew the baptismal vows. Go to confession for Advent. Let go of things that are not really eternal. Let go of things that are not really helping you to come closer to the Lord. Maybe there is a relationship. Maybe there is something in your life that you need to let go. And that is what really Advent is all about. To prepare not just for the baby Jesus to commemorate his birth, but to prepare for his second coming. So when he comes, find us ready, like Baruch prepared Jerusalem, like John the Baptist prepared the Palestinian people where he was baptized at the Jordan. I am not the one. I baptize. I make you prepare. Then with St. Paul we say that the grace we have received was not in vain. May it bring to completion, so that what we have started in us by the love of God will make us ready to stand up at the coming of the Son of God at the last judgment. God bless.